We're going to take a look at how this iLogic code works to create automatic view representations for you. So we've got our beautiful kit car model here. At the moment all of our components are visible on this. If we take a look at the view representations in here, in the representations folder, we'll see that only the master view rep exists at the moment. It's locked. A master view rep always shows all of the components as visible. You can't edit it. Level of detail in here happens to be the master level of detail. That doesn't matter, particularly the code will work with custom level of details in there as well. So we can take a stroll over here to our iLogic browser and we see that we've got two rules in here. So these are the rules that are available to cut and paste on my blog. And both of these rules allow you to create automatic view reps with a slightly different method. So here, the top rule, create by contains. This will create a view rep based on whether the part number contains a particular value, and the begins rule will create a view rep based on whether the part number begins with the particular value. So that value can be a string, a text string, or it can be any numeric value that you like. Okay, so if we go on to forms here, I've placed these two rules into a form just for nice easy access called auto view reps here. So if I click on that, and we'll bring that up. Okay, so we can start creating view representations based on whether the part number contains a value here. So if I click on that, it's going to zoom the model to fit to screen initially so that we can see what we're doing. But and then it's going to request input from me for what part number or part of part number I want to add to my view rep and make it visible. So I know that with my text descriptive part names here, I know that a lot of the suspension components have the word sus in them, so I want to add these to my view representation and make only these visible. So if I click OK, then it's going to go through every component in this assembly. That's the top level components and the first level components as well, or the second level components depending on which way you look at it, the subcomponents in there, and it will make them visible or invisible based on whether they contain the word sus. So you can see that these sus components are now visible. We've got those displaying in the window here, and we have our view rep created. So this view rep is descriptive. It tells us that the parts contain sus, and it will also conveniently give us our quantities. So we know we've got 11 top level components with the word sus in them and 30 subcomponents. So it'll only work for the top two levels. As I said, this could be extended if you want to get your teeth into a bit more iLogic code. So that view rep's been locked. That's no longer, it's not going to change by accident now as it's locked. So then we have a dialog box coming up automatically to add another view rep, and it will tell us how many view reps have been created so far. So if I say yes, I do want to add another view rep, and I'll add a view rep based on whether the word arm exists in the part as well. So I'll hit OK there, and we've got our different view rep created here. None of these components are visible, but we can see 66 subcomponents are visible. Have been made visible because they've got arm in the file name. So I'll add one more in here by clicking yes, and I'll type in body and hit enter. So we should get our body components being created here as well. So 6 top level, 2 subcomponents have the word body in it. So I won't add any more view reps in here. I'll click no now, and I'll click done on there. So let's see what we've got. If I switch between these, we'll see that we can view those view reps. They're all ready to go. They can be put into drawing views. They can be used to filter parts lists in drawings. We'll look at that in a future blog. They can all even be used as part of the suite workflows to send to Showcase and create shots automatically in Showcase, which we may look at in a future blog as well. But you notice there was another rule on there as well. So let's go back to our form. Let's actually create a couple of view representations based on what the part number begins with. But before we do that, we're going to just make a change here. I recognize a lot of companies are not using descriptive or most of the time you wouldn't be using descriptive text part numbers like this. It would be more numeric part numbering systems. So I happen to know that the part number iProperties for these parts contain numeric values instead of text values. So I'm actually going to use a very useful tool in the Assemble tab under the Productivity section here to rename the browser nodes. So if I click on that, I actually have the ability to rename these browser nodes from the default, which is the file name, to the part number iProperty. So if I click apply there, these are the same parts here, but they've just got different placeholders for them in the assembly. So if I click apply there, this is pulling out the part number iProperty itself from within these parts. So the iLogic code actually references these nodes. So if I use that tool to rename the browser nodes, I'll get different results with my automatic view representation creation. Okay, so we'll use the create by begins rule now. If I get the form back up, we'll create a couple of view reps with what the part number begins with. So enter beginning of part names to add to view rep. I know that I've got a fair amount of components in here that begin with 2. So these are our manufactured components. So if I click OK, and we can see all the components beginning with 2 are now visible and the other ones aren't, and we've got our quantities there. So I'm going to choose to add another one here. Now at this point, if I'm not concentrating properly and I can't remember which ones I've added before, if I try and repeat myself and add 2 again, then it is going to give me a heads up that I'm repeating myself. That view rep has already been created. Do I still want to continue or do I want to stop? So I can hit no and stop, or I can hit yes and carry on creating some more. So I'm going to create another view rep whether the part number begins with 6. So I hit OK there. Okay, and I'll just add one more with the part number beginning with 1. And I'll click no there. I don't want to add any more. So 2, we've now got our manufactured components there. 6 is our purchased components, and 1 is the framework and the body. So this is great, but we have a question. What about if I'm controlling quantities and so on and so forth, perhaps with some iLogic, replacing components, removing components, suppressing things? What if I'm making changes like that and I want to automatically update my view representations, I hear you ask? Well, it's a good question. That is in fact part 2 of this 3-part blog series for some iLogic code to automatically update these view reps that we've created so that we can always keep our drawings up to date no matter what changes we make in here without having to make manual changes to our view reps, because as you can see they're locked. If we add new components in here, they won't be recognized by these view reps. Okay, so stick around for my second and third blogs, and I hope you find this very useful indeed. Have a nice day.